AITA for not wanting to help pay for my child's university fees? I am not the original poster. That is you, throwaway uni 6532. He posted in r, Am I the Asshole? Original post. April 17, 2023. Hey Reddit. It's been one hell of a month, so some things I say might not make sense. 40 meters. Recently found out that I have a child, who we'll call Jane, 18F. I wasn't convinced at first, but everything checks out. When she came to me, she told me that she just wanted to get to know her father. I wasn't really interested in a relationship, but felt it would be cruel and unnecessary to deny her this. We talked for a while and I didn't really say much but it was interesting. So after we talk for a while, I ask about her mother, Grace, 40F, and she gives me her number. I really didn't want to have to call her, but I needed answers. So Grace and I decided to meet up at a local coffee shop. We have some small talk for a while before I ask her why she never told me. Silence. I ask again. Silence. I ask a third time and she told me that she just didn't want anything to do with and wanted to get back at me. I point out that all she did deprive the child of a father. She says she does. I ask her when did she tell Jane. She says at age 12. So I get confused and I'm wondering why she only contacts me now. So I ask her why. Grace says that she was angry that I wasn't present in her life. We talk some more about life before we say goodbye and go our separate ways. I don't ask Jane why she didn't call sooner because she was a hurting teen and that's life. So Jane and I spend the next week bonding. Then she sits down and asks to talk. I say sure and sit down. Then she goes on to explain about how difficult her life was living in a single-parent household, and how money was always tight. Long story short, she asks me to pay for her university fees. Now I am well off enough to pay for it without struggle. So I ask to see her grades, and to be truly honest, it's meh. Not bad, but nothing to give a second look. I tell her that I'll think about it and she says thank you. So here's where I might be the I don't want to pay for the fees because, in reality, she is just a stranger with my DNA. And I feel like Jane might just be using me. I mean, she has had 6 years to form a relationship with me and is only doing now that she needs something. I just want to wash my hands clean of her and Grace and move on with my life. I don't want Jane to think I'm her financial lifeline or anything like that. So, Reddit AITA? Relevant comments. Many people ask why Grace withheld the info from him and what he may have done to deserve that. The circumstances around our breakup was harsh, and in general she never really liked my idea of how I planned to do things in life. My whole idea in life was work hard from 18-20, party till 23, and then put it all behind me and live a serious life. During our relationship, I took nothing seriously and lived life because I can. I didn't cheat, but I admit that I was trying to be and do everything all at once. I lived life as though I had no connections in the world. I let nothing tie me down and just did everything I wanted to do from childhood. I didn't cheat or abuse her, but I was like a pop-up ad more than a partner in her life. She knew the plan was to straighten up, and I did, so she could have called at 24 or 25 or any time later. The worst she would have gotten would be child support. Taking money out of the equation. Do you want to have a relationship with her? I'm not sure. Like I said, she is more of a stranger than anything, and no matter how much I try, I haven't lived the experience of raising her, so it's difficult to see her as my child. Edit. April 18th. Next day. Edit to add some stuff because of the comments. 1. I did a DNA test. It was what she wanted me to do to prove herself. Point 2. Child support laws are different in my country in the sense that A. You can't claim unclaimed child support if you had the option to claim it. B. Child support can't be settled after 18 unless the father knowingly disappeared, and that would take months to process, let alone prove. Point 3. Jane had the ability to contact me. I don't know how much influence her mother had on her choice, but I do know that I was a dial away. Point 4. I was never mad at Jane for not contacting me. I knew that she was a hurting teen who doesn't know her father and could be scared to do so. I was confused in the moment. Mixed comments. But ultimately OOP is voted NTA. Update post. April 30th, 2023. About 2 weeks from OG post. So over the past few days I've been taking a bit of time to myself to think about the situation. I realized that I would lose nothing by helping Jane, and it would be more of an investment than anything. I also realized that I got too stuck on the principle of the matter and whether or not Jane's intentions were purely for the relationship, when in reality I wasn't really a person who was yearning for that relationship, which something that lot of people in the comments noticed. 2 days later I called Jane and asked to meet at noon. She said yes. When we meet I put it to her straight. I told her I would pay for only if her grades would improve. I don't expect her to be top of the class, but they should be on an upwards trajectory. The next thing I told her was that she has the choice to have a relationship or not. I told her that I was helping her so that she would have the best chance to succeed in life, and so that she would not blame me if she ever failed in life. It ultimately doesn't change much in my life if I do or don't have the relationship. She didn't say if she did or didn't want to have a relationship. So I feel quite satisfied and happy with the outcome of the situation. I think it's a win-win on both sides. Thank you for the advice. Repost because the comments were locked. Marked as concluded as this issue is solved. But OOP may post more about their relationship. I'd like to know if Jane was ever angry at her mom Grace for the whole situation? Thinking face. Jane knew that Grace could have told OOP and gone for child support after she was told about OOP at age 12. So another 6 years went by without getting more dollar. I don't get Grace at all. She chose to live financially struggling for a petty reason like, I wanted to get back at OOP. He doesn't even know. Grace took food out of her child's mouth for her own ego and pride. Grace says angry I wasn't present in her life. Well, that's kind of what happens when you don't tell someone they have a child. Hope OP is paying the school directly so no one skims. I have a very strong suspicion that Jane's idea of her father is incredibly skewed thanks to her mom. Grace sounds so vindictive and spiteful. Obviously Jane reached out now because of encouragement from her mom for college funding. But I'm curious as time goes on, if Jane will realize that her mom was spouting a bunch of lies about her dad and it'll end up blowing up in her face. Like, I waited all these years to reach out to my dad because my mom said he was a terrible person. But wait, he isn't a terrible person. Why did she make me miss out on a relationship when I was younger? What else has mom been lying about? I don't see this as concluded. I don't know how to feel about this one. OOP just gives me a really weird vibe. Oh man. I really hope he didn't actually say, it doesn't change much in my life if I do or don't have a relationship. Even just reading that, it felt like a knife to the chest. What a horrible way to say you don't want her to feel obligated. Maybe I'm just cynical, but while I'm glad OP is stepping up and helping his child, it sort of comes across like there's a real possibility he's doing this in hopes it will make up for the fact that he doesn't actually seem to want any sort of relationship with her. What do we think Grace told Jane about why her father wasn't in her life? $4 says it wasn't, I didn't tell him because I wanted to get back at him. Dude was 22 when he literally created this, now 18 yo. The human condition, man. I don't like either of the parents in this story. Honestly. Grace is obviously a manipulative asshole who deprived her daughter of a father. Apparently out of spite. Everything that needs to be said about her has been said. I do wonder if there's another side to the story. Though. OOP's no saint either. Though. No matter how much kid-hating Redditors try to say otherwise. He has a very skewed view of how a 12-year-old girl is supposed to act when they first learn that they have a father. He views his daughter as a stranger. But he doesn't seem to realize that she probably felt the exact same way as a 12-year-old girl. He expected her to call a strange man that she probably knew little about. And likely with no help from her asshole of a mother? Yeah, I can't imagine doing that as a 12-year-old. Or even as an 18-year-old. This man in the Reddit comments saying the same wacky things are being ignorant as hell to the safety concerns surrounding this. He's not an asshole for being cautious with his money considering that he barely knows Jane. It's absolutely a valid concern that she's just using him as an ATM. But I don't like his attitude surrounding the idea of having a relationship with her. He barely seems to care and doesn't seem willing to put emotional investment into a relationship. Poor Jane. Having a manipulative mother and apparently a blatantly cold and uncaring father. ETA. The people calling Oop a deadbeat or implying that he was willingly absent from her life can GTFO. Though. It's not his fault that Grace never even told him about the kid. It ultimately doesn't change much in my life if I do or don't have the relationship. Yeah, every kid wants to hear that. Grace just seems like the major here. What did she accomplish here? A tough life for both her and her daughter. A missed fatherhood for Oop. And now the feeling he is only being used as an ATM. Truly baffling. Mom punished herself and her child to get back at Oop. Mom really missed the mark here. I don't know if the op would have stepped up to be a parent. His daughter's mother didn't give him the chance. I don't think it was a fair choice to begin with to deny either the father or her child. It may have just been an easier path. But that is in the past. I think the daughter approached her father with the intention of floating the request for college support. And I think it was with the mother's support and possibly even her idea. At this point, the daughter is in a nothing-to-lose situation. What is the worst that can happen? My father. The stranger says no to giving me money and I am not emotionally invested in a relationship with him. It's like applying for a scholarship with only a DNA requirement. So if the op does not want a relationship with his daughter, NTA, he can turn down the request for money and carry on. It is not like losing an existing relationship. But if he feels any responsibility, has any faint feeling of affection for his daughter, give her some money for college. The situation might become a little messy but might eventually be worth more than the money ever was. This dude is straight up sensical. Honestly, I think that it is a win-win situation. As Oop says, he does not pressure the girl to love him. He gives her motivation to study well. He does not impose himself upon her. He is rather cold and unemotional. But he made a decision. And not a bad one. As to their past with Grace, there is little we know. Many people rushed with harsh judgment towards Grace. But she had a difficult life due to choosing wrong boyfriend when she was young. And being proud, she paid a big price for that. Oop, in his turn, was always honest. She never shared her secret with him. So we do not know what his reaction would have been. They could have got married and resented each other. So we really do not know if Jane's life would have been better. But why is this bad? In his head he had his life planned from early on and actually went through with said plans. successfully. Why is suddenly learning about having a child supposed to sway emotions? Not everyone is capable of the ability to love someone just because there is blood in their veins. I think what Oop did is totally acceptable given the circumstances. He is still trying to grow a start, but he is mostly saying he isn't heartbroken if it doesn't amount to anything. In the same vein, he is helping in the only way he currently can, which is financially. I find it so weird how people are saying he's cold. You have a random 18 years old hit you up out of nowhere telling you they're your kid. That's a lot to digest randomly. Given Oop is reliable enough as a narrator, I believe being indifferent to the possible relationship is best. I wouldn't want to tangle with my ex if there is bad blood, but I would also look to apologize for my stupid mistakes as a kid. Personally, no. I'm not paying. Not yet. Not trying to make her earn the money. But if I only found out a daughter existed a month ago, and the first thing that happens is they ask me for thousands of dollars, pounds, insert currency? Nah. Friend. Nah. He barely knows her name. Honestly though, this feels like moral dilemma debate bait. Set up a hypothetical. Man has daughter he didn't know about. AITA law says he doesn't legally owe a penny. She comes to him asking for money, not her fault. Because she was a kid but she chose not to contact him. Ah, but a kid. Also, grades are bad. Why didn't mother tell him? To get back at him. But he did suck as a boyfriend, but he didn't cheat. Oh, and he's apparently wealthy enough that the money means nothing. It's purely about the choice. You know what? For all the people roasting Oop here, I think his stance is valid. He doesn't feel any affection for Jane because Grace did everything she can to sabotage that. And to be honest, Jane did so as well. She knew for 6+ years by the time of contact. Right? To him, it won't affect his life if Jane wants to have a relationship or not. And it's better that he tell her that than to make it a matter of emotional blackmail or give Jane false hope that they can jump into a father-daughter relationship. He sounds detached because he is detached. He never got to form emotional ties to Jane. And whose fault is that? Now this is interesting. Grace says that she was angry that I wasn't present in her life. So does Jane know it wasn't his choice to not be present in her life? Edit. Name.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. EpicAriaCast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.